How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, a part of the College Huddle Network, along with my partners Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and as always, we are brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located at 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. Boys, the band is all back together one last time for a little while, potentially, because Shelton's about to get into hell season for his
busy season.
Busy season, hell season, however you want to say it. But it's good. We got one last episode before he takes off. Maybe he'll sneak in from time to time. And luckily, before he left, we got one.
We got one, man. We got one.
Yep.
It only took 7 weeks, but we got one.
47 days. Is that it? Is that the official count? 47 days, 46 days until we got one. So obviously we'll be talking about the DC hiring. Got a few other things to hit on tonight. Talk a little bit about the schedule. But how's everybody been? Sheldon, how have you been? We hadn't talked to you since before Christmas. How's everything been in your life?
It's been good, man. I've just, enjoyed my break and, kind of getting back into the work right now. So, like I said, I'll be busy pretty soon. But, yeah, I've just been, I wasn't really super plugged into the DC, coordinator search. I just, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, whoever they hire, they're going to hire. I'm not going to sit around, twiddle my thumbs and read every single message board rant about how this, the entire administration is a failure and we need to fire the entire staff and it's a lame duck staff and all that stuff. So I think they ended up with a pretty solid hire, as we'll discuss, hopefully, in this podcast.
You want to know who did sit around and look at every message board rant? Me. You know who did? Put it a thumb? Me. Like a dummy. Been mad as hell.
Tally was bought in.
Trying to figure it out, trying to read crumbs. It was a whole different cookie. I'm just saying. Tally
figured at some point he was pot committed. He might as well stick with it to the end.
It's kind of like when you watch like a bad movie series. I go back to like Twilight. I don't know if y'all ever watched Twilight. Like I watched the first one and I felt like I could not turn away. You know what I'm saying? Not in a good way. It was like, this is so bad.
Was it the shiny skin?
It was just a whole bunch of stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the one guy's a werewolf, and then the other guy's a vampire, and he's watching his girlfriend lay with this guy to keep her warm. I don't know, man. There was a lot going on. And I already
going down a rabbit.
Hey, we just need Tally to like give quick summaries of movies,
man.
And just
I don't know, man.
That's an entire series unto itself.
Yeah, I watch a whole bunch of stupid movies, man. I'm telling you, I watch a lot of stupid movies. But one movie that is not stupid that I did watch again last night is Den of Thieves. Great movie. I had to refresh myself on Den of Thieves so I can go or get ready to watch number 2 that they just came out with. So I hope they do that justice. That's what I'm interested in.
Good deal. Good deal. Brian, everything been good with you, man?
Busy, good, rocking and rolling, man. It's I was getting a little frustrated with the process of the DC hire. I think that was probably my biggest complaint of the whole thing. Was feeling like we didn't get a whole lot of information throughout the process. And then when we finally got some leaks there at the end, they were all bullshit. So I think that kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouths and kind of set us up for, being a little bit underwhelmed initially until we learn more. And the more digging I've done, the better I feel about this guy.
Do we have 2 Matty B's in the chat, or is it the same Matty B on a different platform?
Whoa, hang on. I think it's saying Matty B on a different platform, but I cannot confirm.
I think it's the same. If that's Matty B, is it the same Matty B? But it's a different Matty. Yeah, it's got to be 2. That's the same Matty. That's the same Matty.
It's the same Matty. Yeah. Same Matty B.
Different Matty platform.
Matty, come to Atlanta. Come to Atlanta.
Tally's going to both of them.
We're going to eat wings. I'm telling you,
strip club.
Fun.
Eat wings.
I don't know about no strip club now. I already
that's
told
where
y'all.
That's where a lot of good wings are.
Well, there's some other stuff in them strip clubs that you might not want to get involved in. Go listen to the space the other day. I don't want to get us canceled on here, but I'm just saying. If you seen Hangover when they went to Bangkok, I'm in Atlanta, just letting y'all know.
There you go. How about this, guys? There you go. You can watch YouTube. You can watch this on the big screen. But let's get into it. And I know people are putting out there who they thought it was. We're gonna talk about that later. But let's talk about Sam. Let's see how I do this. Let's see how many times I screw up Sam's name between now and the beginning of the season. It's not gonna be the first night. Sam Siefkes.
Nailed it
the first
one
time.
for one.
1 for 1. It ain't gonna be like that for long. Y'all know that. Let's get a little background on him first of where he comes from. First of all, the guy is 33 years old. That is insanely young. So go look to his background. He was a Division III player, defensive back, got hurt at University of Wisconsin lacrosse. Then he became a student assistant coach 2011 to 2013. So tells you right there, student assistant, you ain't getting paid anything. It's a D3 level. Brian can tell you about the conditions. It's a D3 level. It ain't exactly pomp and circumstance.
Now, the way they do D3 up there in Wisconsin is a little bit different than Virginia.
A little bit, but still, it's still D3. All right, yeah. From there, and also during that time, he actually got to do like an internship at Air Force, strength and conditioning coaching during the summer with the football team back in 2013 before he rejoined as a student assistant. 2014, he goes down to FIU, quality control coach. 2015, he's a GA at Wisconsin. Couple big points here. That was under Dave Aranda. If anybody knows college football the last 2 decades, Dave Aranda has been one of the better defensive coordinators in college football. He was now the head coach of Baylor. 2015, and probably made the point today, and it's true, 2015, Wisconsin had the top defense in the country, statistically. So say that what you will. From there, he goes down to D2, University of Wisconsin-Platteville as a defensive coordinator. Shelton's going to share some info on that in a little while here. From there, 2018 to 2020, he was in the Southern Conference, which Shelton knows all about. Shelton's got some other info on that as well. He loves the SoCon, so he's got info on him there. He was a defensive coordinator. First of all, I'm going to say something about this we can get into in a while. This guy, at the age of 26, 26 was the defensive coordinator in the FCS. 26 years old, okay? Doesn't matter what level it is. That's insane. He was there from 2018 to 2020, defensive coordinator at Wofford. We'll get the data on that. Went to the Vikings in 2021 to 2022. His first year there, he was defensive quality control coach, and then he became the assistant linebacker coach. We got some info on that as well. And obviously the last 2 years, he has begun making his hay over at the Arizona Cardinals as the full-time linebacker coach, as the head man in that room. So let's talk about that background. Shelton, you got a lot to unload, so I want you to hold tight. Brian Talley, feelings on just reading through the stuff and all that. Chris Lester, what's going on?
Tally, I'll let you lead. You got a lot off your chest last night. I'm gonna let you kind of piggyback on that.
Man, my problem is that I ain't gonna say problem. I guess it's a good thing is that I talk to people before I talk, or listen to people before I talk, so I get a little bit more information. And on the surface, it definitely pissed me off, mainly because of the process more than the person. Because I knew nothing about him. The main thing, and I think a lot of people were just like, who is this? You know, it wasn't, oh, he's gonna suck or this is a bad hire. Some people's gonna say that no matter who it was. I do know if Bateman, if we would have went after Bateman and got Bateman, that their fans were gonna be happy, and some of our fans had already set their tweets up to fire off about how it was a horrible hire. So yeah, the process was a little bit cumbersome to me, in my opinion, but I do feel like, which we may talk a little bit later, I just feel like certain things wasn't going to happen. You know, this is Pride's fourth season, or going into his fourth season. By all accounts, he's probably on the hot seat. He should be. You got to win games in football. I think he does a great job at some things off season. He's been doing a great job. Portal, he's been doing a great job. He hadn't really missed with the portal. We probably talk about a little later too, some of the Senior Bowl stuff that we've seen, which has been great for us. But I just don't feel like it was going to be the people that names were thrown out weren't going to attach their jobs to a coach that they don't know who's going to be here. They don't know where this program is going. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, I think the world loves Virginia Tech as far as they want us to be good, because when teams like Virginia Tech's good, college football is better. But when you start throwing out those big defensive coordinator names, it's like, come on, man. Are they really going to attach their name to a coach that is pretty much unproven as a head coach, and we don't know how long that ship's going to sail? I don't know, man. I don't think that that's what it was. I just think that most people are going to use what they can for a paycheck. You know, they're going to boost their stock. I think Brian kind of talked about, which you probably will talk a little bit more. Agents do a great job as far as like with players as well. When they hear something or if they're offered something, they're going to let everybody know that, you know, no matter how big or small it is, so they can up to the next level, because it's about money. You know, it's a job. So it's about money. It's about a job. And the main thing with me, once I sit back and talk to smarter people like Shelton, I was like, well, let me look at this hire and see what I think about it. But I did know that I was frustrated with the process. Brian, how was you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about it a lot. The process sucked. I mean, there's really no other way to phrase it. And I think the part of the process is when it drags on that long and there's so little information that's coming out, everybody creates their own narrative, and then you hire someone that was a part of nobody's narrative, right? Mm-hmm. And so immediately you get a knee jerk of, like you said, Tally, who the hell is this guy? I haven't heard anything about him. By default, that's probably not good, right? That's like the mindset immediately, right? You go right to that. If I haven't heard of him, it's probably not a good hire. And then you start digging a little bit, and you look at the resume, you look at what he's done, who he's done it with. Way more play calling experience than Marv coming in, and you can say, UW Platteville and Wofford all you want to, but calling plays apples to apples is calling plays. So
you can do it or you can't.
It matters. It's experience. I like it. And then to Tally's point as well, every place this guy has went and left, fans, staff, everybody involved, you're hearing nothing but good things, and disappointment that he's moving on to greener pastures. And that's the kind of guy you want, a guy that left it better than he found it, and a guy that, you know, people are sad to see go. So, you know, I think initially I was like, all right, y'all know I'm not a knee jerk guy. I'm gonna gather my information. But at first I was like, all right, I need to do some digging here because I don't really know what to feel, because I hadn't really heard this guy's name floated out there. I hadn't done enough research. I hadn't seen enough information. So upon digging some more, I feel a lot better. That's not to say this isn't a risky hire, at least in terms of some of the other names that were floated out there. But I think it's a definite improvement from Marv, and I think the ceiling is insanely high of what his potential could be, especially if we can get the right personnel in the building either this year or early next year.
All right. Before I give it to Sheldon, you got a lot to unload, so I want to give you the full floor in a second here.
Yeah.
And I want to give my quick take because, first of all, I was like Tally. Me and Tally got down the rabbit hole. I would send messages and be like, Groundhog's Day, like day 43. Y'all saw me tweet it the other day. Day 43 is Groundhog's Day. We ain't got a defensive coordinator yet. So I'm like a split personality on this. I'm two-faced from Batman. Because on one side, I am not overly excited about like his recruiting prowess because he really has not done it at the highest of levels. And also college accolades. No knock on the SoCon. And yes, calling plays is calling plays, but he has not been at the collegiate level. And you can say, well, it's at the NFL. And it's like, well, it's a different ballgame. There's professionals who are getting paid. They can get their asses cut at any time versus an NIL that you have to pay the kid regardless. So I was like, oh, that's not the greatest piece. But then to Brian's point, I did a little further research. Shout out Dan Poltz. Me and Dan found some good stuff. Shout out our coach, Robbie Compton, who had an interview from this guy back in 2000. I think it was either 19 or 20, talking about some philosophies and stuff. But when I started listening to that, started seeing those things, the first thing I can say is this, and I said it a few minutes ago, the age at which he got to the NFL is impressive. He got to the NFL at the age of 29. I don't care what you're doing. Before he was 30 years old, he was in an NFL building. By the time he was 31, he was a linebackers coach. That doesn't happen. Usually if that, it's nepotism. It's a Brian Schottenheimer to Kyle Shanahan. Papa's in the business. I'm going to get put in regardless. You normally don't see guys in their late 20s, early 30s being put in that position that quick. Usually you got to work 10, 15 years, then you start getting there. The other thing was the scheme video. Y'all want to know what he's doing? Go look at my Twitter account today. I tweeted it out there, 2 videos about this scheme. This scheme excites me. It truly does. It excites me not only from all the stuff you can do with it, but I've told these 3 guys sitting in here before we came on, and I'll say it again. I think a scheme like this favors how we can recruit. How many times do we say, well, that guy's a tweener, and that's not great? There are some things with this defense, a tweener will work better than a full-blown safety or a full-blown defensive tackle. You know what? We actually need a guy who's a tweener to play big end when we play 4 eyes or something like that. Or we need a guy who's got some twitch, but he's got to be able to do things a linebacker can. Brian's going to get into that a little bit later. That's what I'm excited about. So Shelton did his research, and he's got a bunch of stuff. So, Shelton, I'm going to give you the floor. Go for it.
Yeah, well, I was doing some digging on Mr. Siefkes, looking at some advanced stats. Obviously, you know, the traditional metrics, I think, kind of speak for themselves. You know, total defense, third down conversion percentage, they were 4th in the country at Platteville in 2017. And, you know, yards per rush, all that stuff, you know, is pretty good. But I got some SP Plus rankings, advanced stats for his teams when he coached, before he coached, and after he coached at his respective schools. So let's start with Platteville. So he came on as DC in 2016. And just for the record, the conference that they play in, the WIAC, is a really competitive conference. Like it's probably close to the SEC of D3 at that level, just with how good Wisconsin and the Midwest is at football at that level. So lots of really good teams. But the year he took over, the first year, they were 19th in SP Plus on defense at that level, and then next year they're 22nd. He leaves 2018, they dropped to 125th. So that's a 100 spot drop in a single season directly after he leaves. So the head coach at Platteville was a guy named Mike Emmendorfer. So he retired in 2021 after a pretty successful stint overall. His record was about 500, but that 2016 team of Platteville was the only one of 2 playoff appearances they've ever had in school history. So he played a big part of that. Apparently, Emmendorfer really just couldn't get the defense right after that 2017 season, and he eventually retired. They just weren't winning a ton of games. So I think it speaks positively about Siefkes that he was able to, create a good defense in a situation where they really hadn't been all that good, either after he was there or before he was there. So that's a big plus for him. And then he goes to Wofford. Now, Wofford, as you guys know, historically was pretty good under Mike Ayers, who's sort of like the Mike Young of their football program, led them to a bunch of conference championships. He retired in 2017, so 2018 was the first year that Siefkes was the DC there. So taking over a first-year staff, obviously some transition there. That was right as the portal was starting, so they retained most of their defensive players, and it was a pretty good defense that he inherited. But he was still able to keep it going for the most part. 13th in SP Plus his first year, then 20th. And then 31st in that spring altered COVID season, which was obviously very difficult on those FCS teams that had to play in that season because they had lots of opt-outs and some teams decided to quit, but kind of a chaotic situation. And then so 31st in 2020, next year he leaves, they drop to 108th. So that's I'm trying to do math in my head, 77. 77 spot drop. Now, Wofford had some issues. Granted, their head coach did not turn out to be good. They kind of screwed up the offense, and he got fired eventually. So, how much of that was solely due to him? I mean, we don't know exactly. But we do know that he was really good when he was there, and they were really bad in both spots after he left at both schools. So I think that speaks to kind of his track record of, getting the most out of the talent that he has. And a couple other things that I heard from some insider connections I had. I'm very well connected in the coaching scene these days. Not really. I just have a buddy who worked on the staff of a Southern Conference rival when Siefkes was at Wofford, and he was at that school. And he said that the Vikings were really sad to lose him in 2022 when he left for the Cardinals. And they even tried to increase his pay, which is very rare for an assistant linebackers coach. It does not happen often. Usually in the NFL, they just let guys walk. And he also reportedly had a much higher degree of involvement with their defensive operations than you would typically expect for a coach of that stature. So on the whole, lots of really good things to think about Siefkes. I think the more I learn about this hire, I think the more I feel good about it, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Sheldon, right there, the 2 points you're making, especially, it's the fall loss, right? Because we all see that from time to time. Tally and Brian have played and seen it where a good coach leaves, shit sometimes ain't right. It's just not right, whatever reason, for whatever. So thanks for bringing that up, Shelton, about how those teams effectively fell off a cliff defensively after he left. And
to that Wofford point, I mean, I know there was a lot of offensive issues with teams, but I mean, Conklin was still a defensive-minded head coach, so he should have had a good grasp of where to go next, and to see that steep of a fall off is pretty staggering.
And they really haven't recovered at all. Like I was looking, I mean, even if you look at some of their numbers since 2021, they really have not fielded a good defense since that year. So he was really kind of the last true good defensive guy they had.
100%.
Guess who we play this year, Curtis?
Wofford.
Hopefully they're still bad.
Hopefully still bad. Hopefully he holds them to a goose egg on that Saturday in September. All right, something I mentioned in my little rant there, and it's probably been mentioned more than a few times, and me and Brian talked about a little bit this afternoon, is likely a scheme change is going to come to Blacksburg. I think everybody saw the writing on the wall with some of the guys we got from the portal. But Brian, you looked at that video, you read a few things here and there, I know. And we're not going to get into the details because I think what we're going to probably have to do in a couple weeks here is look at our defensive roster and say who's going to play where in this scheme. But Brian, what can be expected, or what do you expect him to bring in, and how are we going to look different next year?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at most of the schemes that he's ran have been multiple, typically odd fronts, and there's going to be a lot of 3 high safety looks. So what we're looking at is going to be some version of a hybrid or multiple 3-3, 3-5 defense, but with the so-called jack backer that for the most part is going to act like a stand-up defensive end in most of the schemes there. So it allows us to really be flexible, especially in a conference that has a lot of air raid and a lot of big spread concepts that we're playing against. It lets us match up a whole lot better. I don't think we'll get RPO'd to death like we did in a handful of games with this type of scheme. It lets you get your best 11 on your best 11 without really having to do a ton of substitutions. It lets you do a whole lot of different things from pressure, coverage, manipulating the box, and it's really hard to prepare for if you're an offense just because of how many different alignments and assignments they have to account for. So I'm excited, and I think the thing that stood out to me when talking about this, I've thrown a lot of stuff out there, and this is going to be a lot, but he emphasized simplifying the concepts while still being hard to prepare for, and thinking of it from the philosophy of if it's game prep week and I've got my players asking me about our scheme, that's a problem. If it's game week and they're asking me about the opponent's scheme, I've done the right thing. So I think that's the mindset that he's coming at this is keeping it simple while still being complex and hard to prepare for.
Tally, anything from scheme?
Not really, man. I've just been kind of taking in. I was kind of thinking where we would add, like the ginger freak when we got him. I don't know the kid's name, but just looking at kind of him. Jonathan. Just kind of thinking about where we would add him on the defense once we got him, seeing how productive he was there to when he's coming here. But then when you start talking about a scheme similar to what Brian's talking about and Sheldon's talking about, like it makes sense that you have a linebacker defensive end hybrid. Because it's like, is that guy going to put his hand in the ground? Is he going to stand up? Well, this scheme kind of changes things a little bit. So, I don't know. I think it's exciting at least. You know what I'm saying? It gives us something to look forward to because what we seen last year was, there was some excitement there, but it wasn't exciting. Another thing, yeah. So another thing to add on to that too, is the strength and conditioning piece. We've got a new strength and conditioning coach, Jared Ferguson. So we've had, I think it's kind of been split, man. I just kind of read the room and see what other people have to say. Like I said, y'all know I'll talk. I do like to listen as well. And it's kind of been a split reaction. Some people say, this was a lazy hire. Ain't gonna call no names, Pete. Some people say that this is a really good hire. And, from inside the building, I feel like the players have really respected him and really taken to this. And it's been some change, which is a good thing. It's got to be changed in the way you prepare. It's got to be changed in the way that you go at game day if you continue losing by one score, and the conditioning piece. If we're getting to end the games and we can't get people on the ground, we got to figure out exactly what we need to do, strength and conditioning wise. That's going to help that. So I think that was a big hire. I think that was a big piece that needed to be filled. So I'm interested to see how this is going to all play out.
You're the owner of a small business, which means you could use another pair of hands, like the experts at Verizon Small Business Days, August 11th through 17th. Get a free tech check and special deals like a free 5G phone. You know you want one. Call 1-800-483-4428 or visit verizon.com/smallbusiness to book your appointment. Verizon Business. Available for select 5G phones. New line device payment agreement and select data plan required. Credit applied to account over agreement term up to 36 months. Terms apply. Offer ends 8/17/2025.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Hold on, wait a second. Let me put this up real quick. Just
I definitely read that all wrong.
A lot of people said that.
When I looked over there, I definitely read that wrong. I thought that said better than Batman. Why is he better than Batman?
That might be a bridge too far, man. That might, it's hard to be better than Batman.
We'll get back a little bit more on the first thing. I want to get Shelton. Shelton, what about you in this scheme? Did you get a chance to look data points or anything like that with this sort of, I don't know what you call it. It's just a unique scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know about the intricacies of the scheme. I do know they've typically been a pretty good third down defense under him, and he talked about that in the podcast that Brian referenced.
Yeah,
they were fourth in the country in third down defense in 2017, and generally pretty good most seasons. But I do think, kind of what Brian was saying about the simplicity point, like he talked about just, making it as black and white as possible, meaning, you're teaching players to kind of read and react based on what they see. So, if a run goes one way, you react that way. If it goes this way, you do that. Just so that players aren't, kind of getting their hands and their feet, and their brains tied up. I think that's really good. I really like kind of just the stuff that you had to say about, the principles that, he operates by, and just making sure that players focus on their technique, because as we've seen, it's very easy for linebackers to miss their assignments. If you're not teaching the concepts right, then players don't understand what they're supposed to do. You got to teach the concepts first, the fundamentals first, and then everything kind of filters down through that. So it seems to me like he's got a really good grasp of how to be an effective teacher.
Yeah. And something he said, and I listened to that podcast as well. And again, Brian mentioned it. Shout out Robbie, who is on here tonight with us. He found it for us and sent it over so we could listen to it. The one thing from that really caught my eye, it was two pieces. The first one was the way he talked about every week you have A, B, C. A, hear the concept they do the most. This is what we're going to focus on. I think he said probably 60% of the time. I don't know if y'all remember. He's like, A, this is what they do the most. This is what they run the most. Here's concept B. Like this, we are going to know in and out, because effectively, Brian mentions it, Tally said it, Shelton has said it. That's their bread and butter. They're going to run this. It don't matter. Give a damn who they play, what looks we give. They're going to run this. Then he talks about B, and he says, we're going to look at this at like 30% of the time. He's like, we know they run this occasionally, but we can't be heavily focused on that. But he says we still have to pay attention to it. And he said something like maybe 10, 15 times a game they'll run these plays. The last one, he says, they might run these plays 1 to 3 times a game. And I love what he said. He says this last little piece. So he's building, right? I'm ingraining what they're going to do a lot. I'm going to layer the next one. And he said the last one, these ones where they won 1 to 3 times, one they might pull out on you, the trick play, something slick. He's like, I look at this last. This is a Friday night walkthrough. This is the last thing I look at. And when I think philosophy and scheme, it's like a building basically saying, if we know these plays and we can stop this and this, and I mentioned this to you at the last possible second, this is ingrained. If they try to pull one of these slick plays, I just mentioned it to you less than 12 hours ago. it's probably going to be something you remember versus trying to tell you something to remember from the bread and butter, which should already be in ways. And I like the way this, and it talks about, it's a common way that they break down the high school. It's simplifying things. Let the guys play, simplify. Make it easy. Let them go out there and play.
Let's talk about this real quick.
Go ahead.
Inside linebacker, no. Big nickel, probably.
Oh, who are you talking about? Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about some of those.
He's essentially going to be one of those box safeties, the big nickel here, in my opinion. I think you need to, when you look at inside linebackers, I think you're going to be looking probably at Woodson. At this point, Bass probably playing the other spot there. And then we talked about Jonkum probably sliding in there at the jackbacker. It's going to be interesting to see where the other spots in the safety room shake out. But yeah, I peg Caleb Spencer for being a big nickel in this scheme.
Well, that's some me and Brian actually. I talked to him at lunchtime today. We were both doing our power walks, and that's what we've got to figure out. And probably in a few weeks, probably through conversation, if we can get Shelton in here, great. If we can't, yes, probably not. It's what happens. I had to get some laundry done today, and unfortunately, I didn't throw him out of the picture. My wife is going to be horrified when she sees this. So everybody remember if I'm in trouble in the next few weeks. But that's
Kim gonna be on your ass tomorrow.
She is. She really is. She's like, 295 people saw your laundry. I'm gonna be getting it.
More than that.
Yeah, probably a lot more.
By the time it's all said and done, a whole lot more than that.
But either way, that's what we've got to look at as we get into the next few weeks. Is once he's in, and once we also know who the other coaches is, because it was said today. And I'm going to get to the other piece that was said today as well. We're not quite done yet. We're not done with the shuffle. I know y'all all heard it. And, what I think is going to happen, and y'all come back, I do believe that there is going to be a new safety coach. I do not think Pearson Prelude will leave the program. But, again, he was in a player personnel role before. They got put in a pinch. Pearson's a loyal guy. But I think we're going to have a safety coach, hopefully by the end of this week. But, maybe like 46 days from now. Spring ball starting.
I think that's the most obvious move. I think the other thing you got to look at is
who's on the road.
Who's on the road? Who's actually coaching linebackers day to day? Because we know that it sounds like Sam's not going to have his own room. He's obviously going to have a heavy influence in the linebacker room, but obviously he's not going to be assigned as the position coach to that room. Is Quinn sliding in? Is a DB taking over? Are we bringing in two guys on defense? What's this going to look like? We still have a little over $800,000 potentially to play around with. It sounds like
more. Because what you got to think of, Brian, is if Prelo leaves, takes a less role in a cut, I think he's making 3.25. So reality is you have about 1.2, maybe more.
I guess it depends on where that gets allocated. But yeah, I mean, I don't
use all the money.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Use all
you
the
need
money.
it. Go ahead and spend it. So that brings into the question. Is this going to be I guess the question is going to be, do you still look at a John Scott Jr. And does he just work with outside linebackers? He's coached outside linebackers in the past. He's been primarily with defensive ends. I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see what the other staff moves are going to be. even though I do think safety is probably the one that we're definitely going to get in this move.
Tally, Sheldon, any feels on that?
Yeah, I can't think about no more coaching moves. I just got to sit back and let them do what they do. I can't even rack my brain about it. I just need them to make some good decisions and put something good together so we can win. I need to go to Atlanta and win. So
he needs to go to Atlanta and win. Y'all remember that. Let's go back to the what you brought up before, because it was not announced the last time we were here. But with Ferg taking over the strength and conditioning program, I know some people were like, "Oh, well, that's just an inside move," and it's really not, because Deej had his own philosophy on how to train, and it was not from the school that Ferg came from. So it is a different mentality. And Brian, which one of y'all said something? It was either Tally or Brian that mentioned something a couple weeks ago about you can have your own philosophies and you can work with someone in that field, but you still have your own philosophies of how doing things.
True.
Was it you, Tally? Was it you being one of us?
I think we just kind of brought it up. I can't remember who exactly brought it up, but
okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. And sometimes, there's ideas that I have, but if my boss don't bring them up, I can't just go and implement them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a pecking order. So I'm sure that it was things for him to, and I'm sure they had to do some interviewing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was they didn't just say, okay, we're going to give you the job. Like I'm sure it was other people that they reached out to and interviewed and things like that. And they pretty much looked at, what do we need and who can be the one to help us get there as quickly as possible. And sometimes it's just love. And sometimes it's just the person who's willing to put in the most time, and just get as deep into the job as they can before it's done. And somebody who's been there and understands what the culture needs to get back to sometimes is because, again, we weren't far off on a lot of stuff. Not making excuses, but it's like if we can shore up those small things, the big things will happen on Saturday nights and Sundays and Tuesdays or Thursdays, whatever nights they got us playing now. But I think just from what I've heard, and I'm just a fan. He's came in and he's done some things that no other strength and conditioning coach has been doing. You know what I'm saying? Walking in saying, "This ain't playtime. Turn the radio off. Let's get to lifting. We're gonna get stronger. We're gonna be serious about this." Little stuff like that sometimes is what a team needs. To find those leaders. Sometimes you got to push people to close to their breaking point to figure out who's going to grab the people up and bring them along as well. And I think that's what we kind of missed last year. Some leaders on the field and some people that were able to finish. So I'm hoping that that's what Ferg brings to the team as a whole.
Brian?
Yeah, I think just in general, like Tally's point there, I think with Ferguson's toughness and he's been exposed to kind of 2 or 3 different ways of doing the job at this point. And I think he understands that one of those, we saw a lot of success, especially with the way we prepared athletes for the field. And I think so. I think we're looking at more of a Gentry model. I feel like that is what he's going to lean on when it comes to strength and conditioning. With a little bit of modernization, right? It's still going to have some more modern concepts, but I think at some point you still got to get back to the bread and butter of what made this program great and what we saw success at. And I think he's going to give us that. I think the big thing is going to be the conditioning piece, because this team definitely looked like they faded in fourth quarters pretty consistently, on both sides of the ball, but particularly on defense. yeah, I don't think we're going to be in a situation where that's going to be a problem with a Jarrett Ferguson in that position.
And I'll say this too, just because it's been so long since I've really been into like a locker room where I had to do some stuff. You know, I'm old, man. I don't care about doing that stuff. But going through the stuff with my son and watching what is said about their strength and conditioning coaches and how they feel about their coaches and things like that, it's a big deal. Because like his basketball team has a strength and conditioning coach, and it's like everybody looks to him, even during the game when things go a little bit awry. They look to Coach B to settle things down, or to, is it okay for me to get amped up? You know what I'm saying? Just because they're with him so much, and he's with them during those grueling times, that the players kind of look at him as a go-to figure. Because he's not the head coach, but he's the strength and conditioning coach, sets the tone. So a lot of times he's at every game. He doesn't have any kids on the team. His job is just to coach them in the weight room, but he's at every basketball game, and he's constantly talking to players, and he's constantly telling them things that can help them get better from a strength and conditioning point. So sometimes it's not X's and O's that he's saying about the actual sport. He's talking to them about what he coaches them in. So if somebody is invested like that on the sidelines, like I think Ferg is, I think that it's definitely gonna help a lot. So again, I think Chris put up something and said it's different in there. I mean, Chris has a son on the team, so I'm sure he can attest a little bit better than we can of what goes on in there. But not just Chris, you know what I'm saying? There's other players and parents that I've talked to that have raved about some things that Ferg has done. So I just want to get to a third quarter or fourth quarter and get the quarterback on the ground. Good play call, be strong enough, be disciplined enough to get the quarterback from Miami on the ground, and let's go win the game. I want to be able to do that. I want to see the players do that.
All right. Sheldon, anything on Ferg, anything like that?
I mean, nothing specifically, really. I would just say, in my experience, a strength and conditioning coach, like every other coach, it all starts with relationships. You have to show that you care about the players as people to get the most out of them. And so I think the bond that you have with them is the foundation for everything else that you can accomplish. So it's not just about, what's my workout or what's my routine. Like, you got to show that you care about them to get the most out of them. And that's, obviously the most important thing. You got to, find the balancing part between, tough love, but also, holding them accountable and, showing appreciation for them at the same time. There's always a balancing act there between not being too soft, but not being too hard either. I've read about, some of those SEC coaches under Nick Saban, the job that they did, being, so widely respected in the program. Just, how much time that the athletes spend with those strength coaches is really critical. I mean, it's a critical part of the program. So again, I can't speak to, Ferg and his specific traits, but hopefully they can get someone in there that really just, again, can, just hold them accountable.
Yeah. You just said it, and Brian put it up there with Robbie says, the guys do spend a ton of time with the strength and conditioning coach, because it's, as we know, winter workout starts soon. They're with them more than anybody here. They're with them during summer workouts. They're with them in the locker room getting treatments and all that stuff. So with that staff more and more. But I think going back to the Ferguson mentality, I think a couple people have said, if a guy don't look like Jarrett Ferguson in your strength and conditioning room, then that ain't your strength and conditioning coach. Because you look at him, he is a big SOB. He played mean. He played hard. He was the last of one of the fullbacks way back in the day in the early 2000s. But I also think, Brian, you mentioned he's been through several strength and conditioning coaches. So obviously it's picking up extra things. But the thing that made getting gentrified was it was what Tally has mentioned. It was, we got late, deep into games, and guys still had the energy level to get the quarterback on the ground to make that run. I'll always go back 2009. Close your eyes, go back to Alabama when Ryan Williams broke that big one. Like, that was late third quarter, and he exploded away from basically an NFL defense. Why? Because to Tally's point, to Brian's point, to Shelton's point, he was conditioned. He was ready to explode like that late third quarter, not the early part of the game, late third quarter. So there that is right there. All right. You mentioned Brian a few minutes ago. It's kind of a talking point. It looks like he's going to be a DC only. That will all, to me, that's all going to fall out in the next few weeks with additional hires and the reshuffling of the staff. So we'll probably talk a little bit more about that at a later time. But I want to, let's just be straight up honest. And I don't know how many other people will talk about it, but I do want to talk about it. What option was Sam? Because I'll give Fry credit. And he didn't say it, but he said, hey, we had a guy coaching in the national championship game that we had interest from. So we know he won one. Was he two? Was he three? Was he four? Was he more? What do y'all think? Sheldon, what do you think? I'll pitch it back to you first. Where do you think he was?
I mean, based on what I'm reading, I would say anywhere from 3 to 5. I mean, I know they went in Knowles. I know, they're looking at Bateman. It seemed like Bateman was a guy for a little bit of time. I don't know where. Look, Price said in his press conference today, they initially had a list of about 20 candidates. So they kind of narrowed down to 10. And that's when they started doing the very thorough research. They started doing those, 4-hour interviews with all those candidates. So out of the pool of 10, I'd say he's probably top 5. But I don't know where exactly in that pecking order he was specifically.
Tally, Brian, y'all got a feeling on this?
No, I kind of go with what Shelton said. I was thinking he probably was in that 3 to 5 range, somewhere around there. Just because, like I said, of course, I mean the big names is probably out there. When some people say no, some people say Banks, and again, I don't know these people. I know the defense when I watch football, but I don't know these people until people start telling me their names. Derek just put in the chat that Seth Wallace from Iowa. I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I know Iowa's defense, but I don't know none of these people. So I just know kind of what I've heard of people. And I feel like once we talked about it and once we looked at things, there's no way that Bateman was the choice on Sunday. When did he announce this? Yesterday?
Yesterday.
So there's no way that Bateman was the choice on Sunday night, and then we hired Sam Monday. It just don't. It can't be. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like were you doing all the research and then how did you get the stuff in place that quickly? I don't know. I just don't think that. I think it was a little bit more thorough than us as fans know. It just when you're not right, you probably get a little bit upset because you want to be the one to break the news or know a little bit more or just want to be in the know, just wanted it to happen. So again, it is a very wait and see type hire. Some people thought that I probably would be a little upset on here, which I'm not. I mean, again, everybody kind of knows how I feel. I haven't hid this. I think it all goes back to the head coach. I don't think that, yes, you do have to make some good coaching hires, but I think that if Pry elevates his game this offseason as a coach, then the team will be fine. I think that we get some of those games that we lose if the head coach elevates his game. So that's kind of how I feel.
I could agree with that. I think, looking at options, I'd say 3 or 4. I don't think it's probably lower than that. I don't know where the Bateman smoke came from, if that was just a play by Bateman's agent to get some smoke out there to help with everything that's going on with the A&M situation. I don't know, but to Tally's point, I don't think it was Bateman Sunday night and then Sam Monday afternoon. So whether we think there were some other guys in that mix, I mean, I know Derek said, Seth Wallace. We obviously think Jim Knowles at this point. We heard Banks early. That kind of, if we talk about, Allen was really the first movement that kind of started the trickle down effect with everything else. So yeah, I mean, these like blue blood or borderline blue blood programs, shuffling defensive coordinators in what I think a lot of people felt were pretty comfortable positions. You usually don't have a national championship defensive coordinator going to a
rival
in-conference rival just for some more money. So that's an interesting look. But apparently, Knowles was going to be the fall guy after Michigan, or so the story is going, and all of a sudden they go on a run, and the rest is history. So he ends up getting a bigger payday instead of getting shown the door. So that's interesting, and I'm sure that played some of the roles in kind of what we were dealing with there. But I'm not disappointed that with the hire that we have. I think it's one of those where you see the potential maybe in other areas. When you look at Knowles' defense, it's a base 4-2, but they play a lot of that 3 high safety. There's a lot of different similar schemes, even though the base alignment is a little different, right? So I mean, we definitely had a very intentional hiring process for this defensive coordinator with what we wanted to do from a personnel standpoint. So I like that.
That's the truth. And I'm with Shelton. I want to probably put it 4 to 5 because I do think, the rumors are flying out there that Ryan Day was going to axe Jim Knowles, even though that defense was really good this year. Apparently they had butted heads on shit. And you heard Knowles that if they had lost to Tennessee, the Knowles thing was going to be done. Maybe, maybe not. You don't know, but it's early in the process. And then you hear Banks. I personally, everybody says, we had Banks. Like, no, we didn't. Tally, you with me on this. Me and Tally talked about it. Banks came here because he knew they can offer me blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to go back to Tennessee and say, they just offered me blah, blah, blah. What are you going to offer me? And what did he get? Oh, wow. He got a $2.1 million brand new contract. I wonder how that happened.
Oh, yeah.
It's a game, people. Just because you think somebody's coming, they playing games out there with the money. The Seth Wallace, the Tom Allen, but I think he was somewhere 4th or 5th. Again, I think Pry in his head has this envision of doing the 3 high safety look because we probably can recruit better to it. And he laid out some guys where, hey, they're running something similar that might fit this. I can recruit to this, and I can land one of these 5 or 6 guys. Yep. Put Jim's up there. Yeah. Banks definitely used us as leverage 100%. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Again, I don't think this was off the radar completely. To us, it was because we know names, right?
We were looking conventional. We were looking conventional.
That's a great way to say it, Brian. We were looking conventional. All right, let's roll on. And let's talk about the portal because, y'all, we weren't done. Tally, Brian, we went through like 19 guys last time. We thought we were done with the portal. Shelton, I won't bring you in on this convo. I know recruiting you don't follow anymore. But
for the sake of my mental health, yes.
He's got to take a break on something.
Smart man.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the 2 guys we got. I want to start with Ben Bell, the Texas State transfer, one of the higher recruited transfers that we got out of it. It looked like he was going to go to Ole Miss, but for somehow, some reason, some way, some shape, some form, we pull him out. We got the Ginger Gang now, all the redheads. He looks like Andrew Parent. I don't care what Andrew Parent tries to say. That might be his kid from an illegitimate relationship.
he was busting that one out early then.
You damn, well, it is what it is. But any thoughts on this guy? He was pretty highly thought of at the beginning of the season. The Red Sea. All right. If they can get 30 sacks combined, we'll call him the Red Sea. But y'all, Brian, Tally, whoever wants to go first, do y'all look at Bell? What do y'all see from him? What do you like?
Bell's just got a motor, man. He's got a great motor. I don't think he didn't play much in this season. So looking last season, because I think he didn't play, so he could redshirt, so because he knew he wanted to get out. But again, high level player, does have some production, graded out really well in most people who are watching him play. So I'm interested to see what he brings. Just bring some toughness too. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you got a white dude with red hair that's playing on the defensive line or close around the line, then he's probably going to be good. So Ben Bell is if you go watch his tape, you can watch just a little bit of what he does, and he's gonna fly off the tape just of his motor and how he's trying to get to the ball. Like he's not trying to take a double team just to free somebody else up. He's trying to beat it. He's trying to get to the ball. So I'm excited to see what he can bring to the defense.
He's got that those crazy eyes that you like to see in a defensive lineman, like when they kind of that almost like the shark eyes, like when they smell blood in the water. Like he's got those type of eyes, and intensity about him when he plays. I'm excited. I think a good skill set. I think it matches. It would have been good in what we were doing. It's gonna, I think, be great in what we're moving to. So I'm really excited.
And Tally, you made the point about like what did he do? He only played 4 games this year. In 4 games, 13 tackles, 6 for loss, 3.5 of those were sacks. Also forced a fumble in 4 games. And this is something we're going to see. There's going to be guys who are down at G5 that know I can get money somewhere else. I might not make it in the league, but I can make 6 figures for 1 year. What? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a good one, Tally. That was a good one, Jumping.
Yeah.
But to Tally's point,
Yeah.
guy in 2023 was an absolute monster. 57 tackles, 10 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, a forced fumble. Like, he can play. The crazy eyes, 100%. All right, let's flip to the other guy that we got here. Coming out of Coastal Carolina with Braden Bennett. Braden's old. I think Braden's a COVID guy, so he's been here a while. But anything y'all see, saw statistics and stuff like that, because it was a good late pickup.
6'2", 220. 6'2", 215. That's enough as a running back. Like I'll take it. Production, I think he had about 900 yards this past year. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need. The last thing we need, and I know a lot of people were asking questions, and again, I know that y'all watched the game. Nobody in the chat. Maybe I'm just talking to some people on Twitter that don't watch the games. But again, I know that all of us watch the games. You never want to be in a position where you cannot run the ball at all. When we played against Clemson, we didn't even attempt to run the ball. You just can't win. One reason was our running back was hurt. Then our RB1 was hurt. Then our RB2 was hurt. And then we had a young guy that I think fumbled, that the coaches were scared. So you got to be able to run the ball, man. And that's part of the reasons why the defense was put in bad positions, is because we couldn't finish certain drives. It's what I get so pissed about with the offense going back to last year. But anyway, great pickup to have I think what James said in here, like a third down back, and I think that I'd have to go look at the stats, but I think he was good at catching the ball out of the backfield as well. So you do you're bringing in 2 guys that have been there, who's already had some production, who's played at a high level in Stewart and in Bennett. And you want to be able to get them in games, and let's see who gets hot. Because it's a slippery slope when you're dealing with stuff like the portal and recruiting and bringing people in. But then you go and look at Ohio State, who had a beast of a running back in Travion Henderson. And then they go get a beast of a running back from Ole Miss in Judkins. Yeah. One running back just can't do it. You got to be able to have options, and you got to account for injuries. So I'm excited that they did go out and get him. I don't understand. Like, I was thinking when we got him, like, what? Why? Like, not why did we get him, but like, why is he still there for us? I thought that would have been a little bit, but it's part of recruiting, man. And it's still players that want to play for Virginia Tech. You just got to find them, and you got to have something to draw them in that want to come here. And I'm trying to read while I'm talking, and Josh just put up something good. He said Bennett had 25 catches for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Thank you.
at 6'2", 220. You know, that's what we want. And then also, you know, I know we've already talked about Selden coming in, who's played some running back, but probably going to be more of like a slot wide receiver, some kind of like a Debo Samuel setup. But you can never have too much production. So I'm all about it. I think Sheldon had something that he wanted to throw in. Sheldon, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, so my understanding is Terrion Stewart isn't quite as well-rounded as Bashal Tootin was in terms of just, you know, pass blocking and pass catching. So I think what they wanted to do adding Bennett was get, you know, just add some more bodies there and kind of have it be more of a by committee approach. You know, because Bennett's got some decent numbers, not necessarily, you know, eye-popping, but you know, he's a pretty solid, you know, explosive guy. But they just want some more options there for their third down, you know, personnel selection in particular.
Brian, anything on Braden Bennett as we wrap up the portal section here?
Yeah, I think to Sheldon's point, you know, getting that insurance policy and having a guy that you can trust on third downs is always going to be important. Whether you're using that person out of a backfield or whether you're keeping them in there to block, having someone that you can count on and rely on third down is so important when it comes to pass protection. So that's going to be a big point, and I think that's where you'll see Bennett shine with that size, the ability to pass block, but still being a productive receiver out of the backfield.
All righty. Let's roll on just a few more notes before we look at the schedule for a few minutes here. Jordan Bass, Lord have mercy. Now, in some cases, some people are saying this is good. You need some stupid ones and crazy ones out there because you got to balance. Everybody can't be a choir boy at football. It was reported. I think it was on January 5th because I went back and looked in some record. There was a DUI by Virginia Tech police on that date, and then just a few weeks later it pops out. But Lord have mercy. Could you have waited like the summer?
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world doesn't happen without risk. A man who's willing to bet it all, and the players ready to make their own luck. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, is the story of the 1990s Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones's impact on NFL history. Featuring interviews with iconic 90s players and more. Watch America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, August 19th, only on Netflix.
Could you have waited till summer? He should have waited till just after the spring game, like 420, right?
No, he needed to go ahead and get it out of his system now.
Okay.
From my understanding, he's hurt anyway, so I think Bass is going to be real limited in the spring. I ain't saying that makes a difference that he should go and get in trouble, but I don't think this is. I mean, he wasn't going to be able to do much in the spring anyway. So sometimes you gotta start a villain arc. You gotta have a villain origin story. So if this is what it takes for you to get serious, you know, you just transferred, you're coming back home, and then you go and you get in trouble. So now you know it's serious. You know, these kids all want to get NIL. They want to be able to take care of the families and get money, but there is stipulations that comes along with that. There are some some grown-upness that comes along with having a job. This is treated as a job now because you're getting paid. So I'm not saying that I'm glad it happened, but if it's going to happen, I think now's the time so we can get on track to spin it into something positive. And then I'm going to say this. So
Fur can work his ass and a little bit extra for the stupidity.
And then I'll say this. Y'all can I don't smoke. It's weed, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's weed. Nobody's ever got high and drove a car 100 miles an hour. You probably got high and drove a car 10 miles an hour. I'm just saying, you're probably going under the speed limit instead of over it. So I'd rather you be smoking and driving than drinking and driving. Don't do neither one of them if it's any kids out there, but I'm just saying. Them Georgia players was getting behind the wheel of cars, and they was getting all kinds of stuff going on. And they were still playing. So let's just go ahead and let's get past this and let's not get in trouble. No more. Everybody else, let's keep it straight.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Real quick. It was announced spring game April 12th. I am TBD'd. Tally?
Haven't even thought about it yet. I don't know. Hopefully I can make it. It's always fun to go to the spring game. My wife likes to go. We usually stay in Bristol, go to the casino a little bit, then drive up. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to
3 o'clock.
I'm gonna try my best.
Even better, Tally. It's a late kick this year. So that gives you time to go gamble all Friday night, get a little nap, wake up by 9, be in town by 11, and you still can tailgate and everything. Shelton, I don't know what the schedule looks like, or is there a potential you could be there the 12th, or is it a no-go?
There's potential.
Okay.
There's potentially potential.
There's potentially potential. Brian?
I'm there. I'm already booked. I booked before the announcement came out, so.
Was it April 12th? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
April 12th.
Yeah. Okay. We might be able to slide through there.
We'll be coming back from the cruise. I'll have a week at work, and then I'll head down to Blacksburg, baby.
Here you go, Brian. You will have a week to convince my wife to let me go that weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the pitch man. I'm gonna be
the pitch man all week.
Hey,
or you gonna put Andrew. You gonna call Andrew and be like, go pitch to Kim.
Y'all gonna be in that tiny room for a week. She gonna be itching for you to get out of her hair. I promise you. Them little bitty cruise rooms. You be ready to get out.
We got some friends of ours going that, I kid you, they've got a teenage daughter and a son that's a little bit younger than me and Brian's kids. Yeah. They just went and got 2 separate rooms. Mom and dad, dad and son staying in one, mom and daughter staying in the other.
I'll tell you, man, last year we went on a cruise. It was my son's first cruise. And we got 2 rooms, but my daughter and her friend went in one room, and then my son stayed in the room with me and my wife, and we never seen him. I wish he was that way while he was at home. He would get up, he would wake himself up, and he would be out of the room at like 6:30 in the morning. He was going and eating lunch with people. Eating breakfast with little girls and their families. And I would just get random pictures of people like snapping pictures and be like, hey, did you know he was over here? He was going and playing basketball early in the mornings, and then he'd be like, hey, how late can I stay out? We all going to get pizza because they'll have on the cruise we was on, the big thing was pizza late at night. So
that's what we heard too.
They were all out eating pizza at 2 in the morning so we never seen him. Not saying that you still don't need no space, but for me, I was like, hey, I kind of like this. He's here, but he ain't here, so I'm gonna let him do his thing.
There we go. All righty. So, as always, we are brought to you by the Kemp Family Pharmacy, friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. Go check Jeremy out. Check Jeremy's podcast, Blacksburg on the Rock with Paul Van Wagner, formerly of ESPN Blacksburg. But, Tally, you hit me up today and told me a little something, because if y'all did not see, ESPN put out just a little earlier today the top 100 games of 2024 college football edition. Tally was teasing me and asking. So, Tally, I'm going to put this on you. How many games did the Hokies have in the top 100 this year?
I just looked at the one. They may have had one more, but I know they had one, and it was at 7, and it was the Miami game, the Miami-Virginia Tech game. And I just thought, I wonder what Curtis – when I first seen that, I said, I wonder what Curtis thinks about us losing this game and them cheating us and it turning up to be the number 7 best game of the year. So, Curtis, you was my first thought when I seen that.
That was your first thought? Because you're going to make me mad about that?
It was my first thought.
Yeah, there we go. We got hoed. That's the honest to God truth. But it was a great game. That game on that Friday night, I think the numbers were like 4 million. It was like one of the highest rated Friday night games ever. 4 million is a ton of people for a Friday night game. And it was a great game.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say, I was pissed about the Econs because we did get screwed.
Yeah.
Karma bit them in the ass against Syracuse later in the year. They deserved it, but it should have happened to us. But it was truly a great game. I mean, from beginning to end, it had all the drama. It had stops. It had go-ahead scores. It had comebacks. And then the crazy shit at the end. Seven, I don't know if it's, maybe it should have been top 5, but I'd have to go through everything. Sheldon, I feel like you have that, don't you? Did we have any you had? I think David Hale wrote it. The top 100 games of the year. Let me find it because I think
no, I don't have it linked.
You don't have it linked? Let me see if I can find it because I think someone said that the Syracuse game is on there.
It might have been on there too. I know the first thing that caught my eye was the Miami game. And what I remember about the Miami game is that this is, even though we lost, this is what Virginia Tech looks like. Like we looked like a football team that was poised to take the next step. You know what I'm saying? Now, you win that game, you definitely feel better about taking the next step. But just from the way that we, came out and was chirping at their players. I mean, there's some NFL players over there. We chirping back at them. They're chirping. And it was a true rivalry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even I told people when they said, when they took the Miami game away, I was like, that's the real rivalry. Like, Miami was the first team I seen Virginia Tech play against in person. And it's electric, man. Like, not that the fans don't like each other, but that's a real game where they respect each other, but they want to beat each other.
Yeah.
Like it was Miami fans there that we talked to, and they was just like, they wanted to win. And it's always like that. We talk about UVA, yeah, it's a rivalry, but is it really a rivalry? You know what I'm saying? It's like when you push the special kid down out of his wheelchair so many times, like, come on, man. Like, are you gonna keep doing that? Are you all right with that? Or you really, you're gonna stand up to somebody that's punching back. You actually in a 12-round bout. Like, that's what I like to see. But I would have really liked for us to win that game.
Yes.
I feel like if we catch that ball, that game goes a little bit higher.
We did catch that ball. We did catch that ball.
I don't know, man.
You're like Danny Cole. We caught that ball too.
I don't even want to think about it, but
he knows what to get me going about.
Yeah. I'll just say this year, I'm hoping that we end up on the top 100 games, and we're coming on. We coming on the top end of it. Now, I will tell you this, Curtis. I'll bring you this. It says the Vandy game was on there too. So
Vandy was 84.
So the number 1 game of the season was Vandy versus Alabama.
No.
That's what they put. That's what ESPN put.
I like Bill Connolly. That's stupid. The game of the year.
I like Bill Connolly. That's stupid.
Was who?
Georgia Tech, Georgia.
I think that was probably like
that was
4. Yeah, I think
that should have been 1. That game was unreal.
I think I know the Vandy Alabama game was higher.
That was 5. That was 5.
Okay, and then the Scatterboo coming out party in the playoffs was like 2.
Yeah.
So, which that was a freaking good game, man.
Oh, that was 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was 2?
1?
2 was Bama Georgia 1 back in September.
I don't even remember that game. That's
That was an iconic game.
Whatever. I get it.
Vandy, Bama was 1. I don't agree with that. The whole Bama Georgia game. The only thing that made that game like, Bama went up early. Georgia gets all the way back. It was the Ryan Williams touchdown. Like, that was an iconic play when they hit that touchdown down the sideline. It was just like they should have lost. They should have lost. The Orange Bowl. Wait a second. Orange Bowl was Penn State Notre Dame, right? Yeah, Orange Bowl. Oh yeah, there you go. Ohio State, Oregon. That was a great game. Yeah, the Orange Bowl was me and Brian, we watched that playing poker. I lost some money that night because I was about halfway focused on it. That was that was like the classic old school game. It was back, it was forth. He knew what to do to rile me up. And the Texas Arizona State game, they were just, I sat here almost all day.
That was a great game, man.
That was a great game.
I enjoyed probably watching that game more than any other game this year, besides Virginia Tech games, which I did enjoy watching some of them. But anyway, that was I like you said, New Year's, sitting around watching that with my brother-in-law, and that was just that's what you want, man. That's what you expect a playoff game to feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just a great game. So I'm looking forward to it. For all the people who said the playoffs was nothing, when you see something like that, and y'all got lucky too. Y'all got lucky because in the national championship, they did make it a little bit closer than it should have been. So I couldn't come in here and really go off like I wanted to because so many people was talking about, how it was just so messed up. And I was like, it's always been a one-sided national championship game for like the last 7 years. It's 8 years, however long we got to go back. So essentially it was the same this year. They was about to get boat raced, and then they calmed it down because
it was entertaining because you knew at the end there, like, if Ohio State. Well, first of all, let's talk about this play. This is a Virginia Tech podcast, but again, I love college football, and we all do. How the hell? Let me put the hat on backwards here. How the hell on 3rd and 9 do you play Jeremiah Smith off 9 yards with 3rd and 9? That boy is gonna get the ball. I don't give a shit where he is. He was getting the ball that play, and you play off man against him. And when he did that little hitch, he was dead. I sit here and I say, could you at least have played press? What if he beats press? At least you tried. My bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was a head scratching move too. So I don't know.
Curtis was texting me about that. I was like, what?
I was so pissed about that.
He was hot, man.
Well, you see shit, and it's just like, how is Al Golden getting paid $1.8 million a year, and it's the biggest play of the year? You stop them, you get the ball, and you had a chance to tie this football game. You already screwed up once from the 10. We're going to kick a field goal. We're going to be down 2 scores still. Talk about game management. And then it's like, against that kid. Anybody else, fine. Anybody else, they beat you, fine. That kid, no. That kid is elite, and you let him do that. All righty. Where were we?
Schedule.
The full schedule release has happened, and that's what we'll kind of close it down here with tonight. 2 trips to Atlanta. Everybody, just so you know, Tally, we be there both times. Look for him. For those who want to get you, meet him. Go there, meet him. He'll take you and tell you.
6 weeks apart, baby.
6 good, yeah. A little time.
I'll be there. Apart. About 3 hours from my house. I gotta go.
All righty. So look real quick over the schedule. I got it out there for y'all. What did I tell y'all last week about the schedule? I texted all 3 of y'all. Where Florida State's our furthest trip this year. Whatever week we play that, I told y'all we're getting Miami right after it. They're gonna screw us in that way to make air travel. So they did as my prediction and made sure Miami was after it. But anything on here y'all like, you dislike, you wish was different?
I wish that we were at FSU on the open date. And they had the open date between FSU and Miami. Everything else I'd be fine with.
All right.
I don't really like November. November is going to be kind of not the best month other than UVA.
Or could be great. Stop.
Could be great. Could be great. But I'm
ugly
saying
great.
If we're trying to, if the goal is to spread out the difficult contest, we put a lot of them, at least from a talent perspective, in November.
Shelton, anything you like, you hate?
I wish the kickoff game was in Charlotte, but that's more of a personal complaint.
I think we
Joe,
all.
you don't want to come to Atlanta, man.
Charlotte's my city. Like that's it's my city. So
I gotta get to Charlotte, man. I done heard some good stuff about Charlotte. I've never been,
good.
so I need to go.
Maybe one December we can just go there.
You got to get to the clip.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm waiting on. We got to get to the spot so I can go to Charlotte. Can y'all make that happen for me, Pry? If you watching,
please.
Can you get to Charlotte so I can experience what Charlotte is? My boy Sheldon is telling me how great of a city it is. He tells me I can get all kind of food there. I'm fat. I like to eat, and y'all are hindering me from going and eating good food because you won't get to Charlotte. Please get to Charlotte.
Please
That's
get to
what I
Charlotte.
need.
There's one restaurant there that had the best cornbread I've ever tasted in my entire life. I don't know if you're a cornbread guy, but
I'm black. We love cornbread.
yeah, you gotta try it, man.
What's the place called, Sheldon? Do you know?
I'll text my friend and I'll get the name.
So there you go, Coach Pry. You have to get us to Charlotte so we can go to the cornbread place.
Tally needs cornbread.
It was a transcendental experience.
Oh my God,
cornbread.
That's great. Yeah,
I know we got 7 home games.
We do. That's a lot of home games. Maybe we can make it to one this year.
Hey, maybe we can actually take advantage of that.
I hope so.
Let's
try.
We got 7 home games. And again, I know every team's different, every year's different. But looking at that back half of the schedule, you go Louisville at home, then you go Florida State, then you go Miami, then you go Virginia. It's like, really?
Yeah,
I get it. It's a for me not to sound like a homer. I'll just say I'm more worried about our team than I do those teams. Florida State fucking won 2 games this year, I think. I'm not too much worried about what Florida State has going on. Maybe they come back next year and they go to the playoffs. I don't know. Miami had a very, very good quarterback this year, and we took them to the brink of the end of the game. So,
yep. Carson
Beck, he's ugly. I don't know.
He ain't worth $4 million.
I don't know how he's gonna play, but I know he's ugly.
There you go. Does that sound right?
Yes, I'm like, oh, you talking about that place?
Good place. Ask him. Pinky and Merritt's.
It sounds like it's good. I don't even know what it. I don't know if that's the same place, but it sounds good.
You looking at it?
I want to eat that.
Yeah, I'll close it down. We get a traditional Thursday with Cal. Great, or Thursday or Friday. I'm sure when it comes out, it's Friday. Everybody will bitch and complain about it being on a Friday. But like overall, it's like fairly balanced up until the last month of the season. Like you go through. It's like, well, Georgia Tech should probably be a tough game. NC State should probably be rebuilding. The beginning with South Carolina and Vanderbilt. But like you asked me to key in on a date. I think what happens October 11th down back in Atlanta tells the story of the team. Middle of season. Like, I think that's the pivot game. I think, and if it's a year if good things happen there, we're sitting here having good conversation. If not, we're talking about some new coaches potentially, or more people being fired. So there we go. All right. Anything that has happened in the last hour and 25 minutes, gentlemen, y'all want to share?
I don't see anything else out here, man. I think we're good.
All right.
I did confirm it is Mert Soul Food in Charlotte. So thank you, Rob, for bringing that up. I totally forgot the name of the restaurant. So we'll have to get Tally there sometime.
We're gonna get Tally the merch because we're gonna go to Charlotte this year. One way, shape.
Get the merch, baby.
Get the merch. All right. With that wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg. I am Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Sheldon Moss.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Visit our website, boundarycornerbt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. Check the merchandise shop out. While you're there, follow us everywhere. Y'all know where we are: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Also, favorite podcast source. Somebody asked me today, "Oh, y'all just on Spotify?" And I'm like, "No, we're on all of them. So whatever you like to listen to, we can get you."
If it's one we're not on, let us know. I'll get us on there.
Absolutely. If it is one we are not on, please let us know, because that really is going to bother Brian for a while. If he's missed a podcast source that we could be on, he wants to definitely get it on there. As always, our buddy Jason Long, he plays us out every week. Check his website, jasonlongmusic.com out, for all his latest stuff. Man got called back into emergency wrestling coaches over the last few weeks, so I don't think he's had a chance to listen in, but check out his Spotify, his YouTube pages. As always, we appreciate all y'all out there listening. Y'all have been very entertaining in the chat tonight. And as always, we appreciate y'all. And let's go.
Hokies.
Hokies.